I'd like to introduce you this evening to Harriet Waley-Cohen. Hi, Harriet.
Hi, Geeta. It's such a pleasure to be here with you.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming. And actually, what we're going to do today is talk all about warrior queens and butt kicking and, you know, general stuff like that as far as I can see. So I'm really, really happy about that. Just tell us, everybody, a little bit about you and what it is that you really do. And then we'll go from that.
Well, what I really do, I don't actually normally tell people this, but I give women their feistiness, their playfulness, their juiciness, all the stuff that makes life worth living. I give them that. Either I give it to them back or I help them tap into it for the first time. I could say to you, you know, I work with women who don't believe in themselves and they don't like their bodies and they've got disempowering habits, and then I give them confidence, well-being and success. But that just sounds really like a bit cheesy, whereas I like to talk about the real juiciness, because that's what it's all about. It's like, why would you want to have confidence, well-being and success? Well, actually, because life is about experiencing pleasure and not being really serious the entire time. You know?
And effervescence is into spirituality, I tend to think. So joy and spirituality are hand in hand.
Yes.
Well, that's phenomenal. And how is it that you do that?
Magically. I weave my magic. If I tell you, I'll have to kill you. No.
Well, no, because that's why you came on the bloody show, woman. Now get on with it.
I do a lot of public speaking. I give a lot of webinars on different topics at the moment because here we are in lockdown, so I'm not speaking out in public. I run a number of programs, and really the process involves identifying what's holding each person back. There's a lot of people come to me and they say the problem is, in fact, I had a call with someone this morning who says I'm drinking too much and I'm drinking too often, but that's not actually the problem. That's her solution. But so people will come to me with what they think are their problems, but I'll tell them that they're their solutions, like you're overeating or you're drinking or you're saying yes and people pleasing the whole time. Those are your solutions. And so we unwind them and say, well, what's actually lying underneath? And underneath is this feeling of inadequacy, this lack of purpose, feeling like you've got to do what will impress other people. And people are living a life which is not honoring of themselves. And I show them how to live a life where they're in complete partnership with themselves. So they have to know who they are and honor that on every single level. And then this incredible playfulness, feistiness comes out because they know who they are and they're able to stand in that truth and know that they're good enough. And that's
also that's another way of also describing being in alignment and being in flow, and that word that I really dislike, actually, of being authentic. But yeah, it's that thing of when you're not, what's it in a row, your ducks when it's too hot, when all your ducks are in a row. You're just in a place where everything is wonderful and it's all working. So that's really lovely.
It's a case of to thine own self be true.
Yes.
However, if you don't know who you are because you've spent so long trying to mold yourself into who you think you should be to keep mum and dad happy, to keep society happy, to keep partner happy, to keep boss happy, you forget who you actually are. So it's almost like it's a homecoming, and then it's like boom, I'm back.
Baby, I'm back, even.
Baby, I'm
fantastic.
back.
I really love that. So I know that we headed for the warrior queen stuff. Talk to me about how that came about, because I just want to get to the warrior queen part, frankly. I'm like, because what I like about you and what I like about what you do is that it's always massively non-traditional. You know, it's always got a little twist in the thing, a little different along the way. And I love that. I think it's really interesting how you do that. So tell me.
What I noticed very early on in lockdown was that people were having to sit with how they felt. They were having to reflect on their lives because they could no longer distract themselves by dashing around the entire time. And I actually coined a phrase for this, which is the cult of busy. I think people have accidentally joined a cult of having to be busy the entire time. Yeah. And they're so busy doing, and they're so busy consuming and trying to prove themselves that they've got very, very far away from knowing who they are and honoring
It
who
just
they
keeps you
are.
busy. It stops the voices in
Exactly.
the back of
It's
your
kind
head.
of, it's kind of hamster wheel.
Yeah.
And if you don't feel good enough underneath, you just keep going, keep doing, keep achieving, keep buying, bigger house, bigger car, flashier handbag, big job title.
Younger wives.
Well, maybe, yeah. Speak for yourself, darling.
I'm
yes.
doing Toy Boy. I will stay with her.
But it's that stuff. It's I've got to keep going. And what's happened is that when people have stopped, they've gone, I don't know if I like my life. They've actually stopped and said they don't know if they like their life, but also they've had this time to sit back and notice what that lifestyle has done to their health and well-being, but also to the planet, and what the collective way of being in this cult of busy has done to humanity and to the planet. And people have shifted from this place of almost sort of selfish accumulation to this collective place where what is for the greater good matters. And this is where the warrior queen comes in. I think she's the archetype that women are crying out for right now and want to become, because they want to be purpose driven rather than just consumers. They want to do things for the greater good. They don't want to take any shit from anyone anymore. They want to be energetic and feisty, but they would have this amazing vision, which is where the queen aspect comes in, of the world that they want to create. And it's not just their home, their family, it's for the greater good, the good of their community, the good of their wider family, the good of their country, the good of the whole planet and the race. And so I think that the warrior queen is the antidote to the cult of busy. And you know what, because she's out there creating change and she's purpose driven, she knows how to look after herself in such a way that she can serve.
Because
and that's
there's
what's
no
really
way to do
important.
it unless you take care of yourself, right? You can't
Exactly.
look after anyone else if you can't look after yourself. Okay? This is something.
And in the cult of busy, self-care isn't even on the list, let alone bottom of the list. Looking after your own needs, whether they're spiritual, physical, emotional, it's like there's no time for that. You've got to do more.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that. And so what kind of women do you work with? What do you find traditionally? I mean, obviously, traditionally, so, what do they look like or sound like or be like?
Well, on the outside, they're usually quite high flying. And it could be just that they're a bit of an alpha mummy. And I know you know what I mean by that, the alpha mum types, or, corporate high flyers, or entrepreneur types. And on the outside, if we looked at their Instagram or their Facebook, we'd think they've got it all made.
Yeah.
They've got the career, the relationship, the house, the social life, the holidays, all these incredible things. So on the outside, it looks amazing. But on the inside, they feel like an imposter. They definitely have imposter syndrome. They have a very loud inner critic. They don't like themselves. They don't like their bodies. They don't, there's so much they doubt about themselves. And so the sense of needing to do and achieve and keep up this appearance, lest they get, found out by everyone that they're actually the person they dread they might be, rather than this incredible person everyone else seems to think they are, is just driving them to exhaustion.
What is that all about, Harriet? Why do women always have this massive disconnect between who they are and how other people see them? Because like the number of times I've been told, when I look back at my old photographs, I was so much better looking than I thought.
Have you seen, I think there's a meme that says, I wish I was as fat as I thought I was 10 years ago.
Right.
Or 20 years ago.
So what is that?
I think it's that, God, I'm going to sound like a radical feminist here. It's probably because I am one. I think it's the patriarchal system of the media that tells you must look like this, you must, have the career, you must be ambitious, you must meditate before dawn, you must make organic cakes for the school fair, your home must be Interior Magazine perfect. There's just so much pressure on women that it's impossible for us to ever match up.
Yeah. But then we're set up to fail, aren't we? Isn't that the point?
Yes. And if you buy into that, I think it's part of the solution is noticing that you've bought into it and that you don't have to buy into it and you can reject it. I was on a webinar, and this was right at the beginning of lockdown, and I was describing the cult of busy and all this kind of stuff that we've all bought into as this is what success looks like and you must strive for.
Yeah.
And somebody suddenly said, it's an illusion, isn't it? And we don't have to agree with it as the end goal. And I was like, you've hit the nail on the head. And there was just this silence, and then quite a lot of swearing, as this person was like, I've been brainwashed and I bought into it, and I can unbuy into it and completely change everything, you know? Yeah. Yeah.
So we buy into the illusion. We keep ourselves busy because it stops us thinking how much we hate the lives that we are living. But then now when you find that you've got this life that you don't love, what do you then
we'll be happy and we'll be successful.
Oh, I'm sorry, you've come back. Tell me again.
Yeah, I've come back. I think people have bought into it because they've been told this is what success looks like. So they assume they'll be happy when they get there, even if the journey doesn't feel great. And with every step of the journey,
and then they think it's their fault it doesn't feel great.
Yes.
You're the only one, and you're the only person, and everybody else has got it sorted, but you feel terrible, is how people feel.
Exactly. Yeah. And so you think that there's something wrong with you. And this is where this big connect between the outside shiny version and how you feel on the inside just gets further and further apart. And then how do you bridge that gap? And that's where, like the lady this morning, the drinking, the emotional eating, the being busy the whole time, food, exactly, shopping, right? I mean, who hasn't got a giant pile of Amazon boxes they've accumulated during lockdown, or a bunch of clothes they need to return, right?
Me,
you don't
really hate buying shit. So I'm unfortunately, I mean, I have many other deeply stupid things I do. That's the only one I don't do.
Well, here's the thing. It's like instead of, well, you're good. Your house is not at all cluttered. Not at all cluttered.
I know
clutter distresses you. It stifles creativity, doesn't it? But I think
my brain just
happens,
can't work with it.
Yeah, it's that when you're eating because you feel crappy, or drinking, or shopping, or staying up late watching Netflix or whatever, there's no self-care in that, and you just end up feeling worse. You're spiraling down. And so what happens is that the next day, instead of going, oh, wasn't that lovely? I had a bottle of wine and a bar of chocolate and a massive bag of crisps for dinner last night, you feel even worse about yourself. Like your inner world is completely out of control. It's just completely out of control.
But the thing is, let's look at it this way. Now, when you think in terms of language, right? People hate being, I mean, like, you can't say to somebody, oh my gosh, you've got really low self-esteem, come talk to me and I'll help you feel better, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Because nobody likes that. You're like, sod off. It's like, I remember trying to hold a webinar on stress. Nobody was like, we're already stressed, don't fucking talk to us, don't want to know. We're stressed, okay? Mm-hmm. So what is the entry point into that conversation that doesn't make people feel bad? Women.
Yeah. I think it's about often just laying it out and saying, have you bought into the cult of busy? And they're like, actually, I think I have. And when you get that common moment of I'm not the only one, and I think that's so important, like you were talking about the shame that we feel as women, thinking we're the only one, and that's why we keep it secret, and that's why we keep going, oh, I've got to pretend it's all amazing. There's got to be that moment of we're all in this together and we can all shift together. And sometimes even just saying to somebody, are you really happy? Is this thing that you're pushing so hard towards, is that really what you want? Because people often haven't stopped to even ask.
No, it's very true. I find that because when I'm sitting with them and I have a process that I take them through in the beginning, and I'm kind of like, let's just do an audit. And there are places where they're utterly, I stopped recording them because they were crying. Because when you sit there and take them through it, they just hate it.
Yeah. Gosh.
So it's something that they really struggle with. So you don't want to do that. So what do you then do with them?
Well, one of the first things we do is we have to get the self-care sorted. You have to protect your sanity, because until the self-care is in place, all the disempowering habits that make you spiral down will remain solutions. So you have to put different solutions in place.
And how do you do
very
that?
Lovingly. How do we do that? Well, sometimes it's as simple as going through needs and starting with basic physical needs and then going onto the emotional level, the spiritual level. the social level, all of that kind of thing, and just saying, right, let's get that in place. But there's also a case where you have to actually allow them to have fun and say to them, look, just for 3 hours on Saturday afternoon, have nothing planned, which is actually terrifying if your life is scheduled to within, you know, you're scheduled within.
Oh my God, I love doing nothing on Saturdays.
So just say, have nothing time where you can do whatever you want. If you want to get into bed, get into bed. If you want to go for a walk, go for a walk. You want to read a book, you want to read a trashy magazine, you want to watch Tiger King, whatever you want to do, just do it. But don't plan what you're going to do. And allow them to just start to feel the benefit of slowing down.
But for people who are super organized and doing, as you say, the cult of busy, that has got to be the most scary bloody thing.
Yeah, to be told to do nothing.
Yeah.
But also, it's not just being told to, it's being given permission to.
Yeah.
And then they start to go, oh, I'd forgotten how much I love, you know, watching old movies or trying on all my evening dresses or whatever it is that they love doing. You know, they can go down a rabbit hole on Pinterest of pink cushions or whatever they, you know, that's maybe sounds a bit
glitzy. Did you
glitzy.
not find, yeah, the Pinterest pin cushions, did you not find that lockdown was really effective for that? I found that literally being in a place where I didn't have the ability to do other things made me completely pick up things that I just have never looked at for decades.
Well, I don't know. You see, I think some people have, but I think other people haven't. In fact, there's a joke going around that you're coming out of lockdown either as a hunk, a chunk, or a drunk. And you know, you and I are in the hunk. Yeah, but some people have just literally eaten their way through it. Other people have, been drinking their way through it.
And she said she had to try on all the clothes in her wardrobe because she didn't know what to do anymore.
Yes, exactly.
So for her because she was not happy about that. I was like, are you happy about that? Because that could be something you're happy about. And she was very definitely not happy about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not sure that everyone has. And in fact, I think what's happened is that lockdown has amplified and intensified what you're not happy with about your life and your unhealthy coping strategies massively. Because if you're used to dashing to the gym, dashing to the bar, dashing wherever when you're not okay, but now you can't do any of those things, you know, it can go one of two ways, can't it? If you really don't want to feel what you need to feel. And I think that's part of it, is that allowing yourself to feel unpleasant feelings and knowing that you're not going to die is super important, because people don't like to feel unpleasant feelings. They don't like to feel that they don't like their life, or they're not sure, they don't like whatever it is, or something's not working, and all the usual distractions have gone. Yeah.
And so what's happening is that actually if you are in that place, then it's absolutely an issue of how to manage. Well, I think that when you feel unpleasant, negative things, what actually happens is that you allow them to float off. But when you push them, whatever you resist persists.
If you shove it down and you think, and you just like, oh, this is really unpleasant, you know, I can't bear another day with my partner and children, I'm desperate for some time away, and they're all annoying me, and they're all leaving dirty socks everywhere, or whatever it is, not putting their plates in the dishwasher, putting them on top of the dishwasher, and all that really good stuff, right?
Annoys me so much.
That actually you've then got to just feel it and let it be, and then do something healthy about it. Then you've got to go and set your boundaries, or dance, or whatever it is you need to do to release it. But if you don't know how to feel in the first place, and that your feelings won't kill you, in fact, they're really useful indicators of what's going on, then you're in trouble. And this is where the warrior queen comes in, because she knows all her feelings are useful. And she knows that if she feels angry, she needs to do something about it.
Okay, so tell me more about the warrior queen.
So the warrior queen will feel her feelings, because she knows they've got really important messages for her. She needs to feel angry when she's feeling angry, because then she knows my boundaries have been crossed. Somebody's, you know, doing something that's against my values. I need to go and do something about it. That's the opposite of smile. Yeah, no, definitely don't just smile, and don't shove it down. Allow those unpleasant feelings to guide you towards taking empowered action, and to head you off in the direction of your vision. But you have to be on top of your self-care. Your energy levels have to be high, because if somebody does something that makes you angry when you're really tired and really hungry and you've not done your meditating and connecting with the divine and this, that and the other, anything can happen. You might easily think that screaming and shouting and eating chocolate is the answer, right? But it's not.
Also, or you just give up because you're too tired to fight. And I think being too tired to fight is a thing. And women just think, yeah, whatever, and let it go.
Yeah. Yeah. My dog agrees. She's chiming in.
She totally agrees.
She definitely agrees. Woof, good girl. She's wagging.
Okay, so how do people work with you then? What is it? Because you're just launching this Warrior Queen is a completely new concept for you, isn't it?
Well, yes, because I've separated my two brands. I've separated my corporate facing brand from where I do my talks and executive coaching and leadership work from my personal development side of my business. And my personal development business is now called Self-Love and Sass. And it's
it's lovely.
Yes, it's feisty. And the Warrior Queen is the energy behind it. She's the archetype behind Self-Love and Sass. And so if people want to connect with me, they can connect with me on Instagram at Self-Love and Sass. And also, I've launched the first product in the Warrior Queen range, and it's an entry-level product, and it's called the Warrior Queen's Battle Kit: Conquer Your Inner World, so you can have anything you want.
I love that.
And it's really designed for people who feel. Thank you. Yeah, it's a battle kit. It's like everything you need to go into battle to make your vision come true. So it's got video trainings on unconscious patterns so that you can turn them from what feel like your biggest enemies to your greatest allies. It's got a list of more than 20 ways to protect your sanity. And I promise I don't mention baths or candles once. They're proper ways to protect your sanity, not, pink, fluffy self-care. This is like proper grown-up stuff that a Warrior Queen would need, and explanations for it. It's got a list of journal prompts as well that will help people uncover what's really going on. There's activation affirmations to help you really own your inner world and allow it to guide you rather than shove it down. And then there's a whole bunch of juicy bonuses as well. I even made a Warrior Queen playlist on Spotify. So yeah.
Oh, I can imagine that sounds very good. And so when they buy in, you actually have that. What are a few songs on the playlist?
Well, there's obviously some Beyonce. There's some Aretha Franklin. I'm just looking it up now. There may even be a bit of Little Mix, actually. There's some classical. Let me just open it up here. So it starts with Aretha Franklin's Respects. We've got Fight Song. We've got Who Runs the World, Girls from Beyonce. A little bit of Demi Lovato. It's epic. It's a great playlist. I'll send it to you, darling.
Yes, please. I'd love that. We should have had it playing as we came in and out of this entire place. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, I'm sending it to you right now.
Amazing. And what do you see for the future of this? Where do you see this going?
This is just the beginning. This is a DIY kit. It's a DIY low level, only £29. It's not a massive cost, but it's enough for people to get a flavour. We'll be the Warrior Queen Bootcamp as well, which will be coming in the autumn, and where people will really be able to learn how to get away from having an inner critic and feeling crappy on the inside to Warrior Queen. So that's super exciting.
That's phenomenal. I'm so proud of you. Well done. So this is the wonderful Harriet Waley-Cohen. Where do people find you, Harriet?
They can find me. They can look at my website, which is harrietwaleycohen.com. They can all. Do you want me to spell it?
Always a good plan.
Yes, HARrietWaleycohen.com. So they can find me there, and they can find me on Instagram at Self-Love and Sass. And they can also have a free group on Facebook if people are on Facebook, and it's called Harriet's Inner Circle, and it's free to join. So people can come and find me in any of those places and just join in with what's going on.
Lovely. And I am actually a member of your Inner Circle Facebook group, and I like it a great deal. I highly recommend it.
Oh, thanks. I like having you there.
Thank you so much. And this was the wonderful Harriet Waley-Cohen. Thank you so much for joining us. And this is Living Raw Radio, and we will be back with more inspiring, inspirational, lovely, amazing, interesting people for you to listen to learn from, grow with, and we'll see you soon.